In this video, we're going to talk about reviewing query based upon parameters, so which are also known as query variables. So previously, what we did was we provided uh, we provided the reviews what we need, and based upon that, we were querying. But right now, let's say we want to have a review of certain ID, okay, and we want to get only the data about it. So, like currently, we're getting review ID and let's say review rating, but we want to get review of only a certain ID. Well, we don't want ID then for sure. We need the content of it better, okay? But now the thing is, how to do it is you have to first tell uh, inside the query of resolver itself. So remember all the methods inside the resolver. Remember that rule. So what you do is let's create a review here, okay? And here, before we move further, uh, one thing we have to note here is that the first parameter is basically a parent, which basically uh, contains, which actually we are not going to use in this coming up video, but it basically contains the parent field information. So yeah, next is what we need is the arguments which we will be passing through the review, and then we have something called context which we can use for authentication, etc. And then we have another parameter called info, but that you can look at the website itself. But what our main topic here is arguments, okay? So let's get started with the arguments itself. So as I said, to let's say we want to get our view review of a particular type. So I just type rv, and this rv dot id should be equals to just argument dot id. Okay, so this is what we need. Okay, but the things are not done yet. Now the next thing what you need to do is, once you have defined the reviews resolver, you have to also provide the type def of this review. So let's go back to the schema itself again, and at the top uh, we will write a review, okay, and this review will be of type review. It will not be a list for sure, okay, but this review will have something called id, okay, and this id will be of type id, which is required. Well, okay, now once we have defined it both on our resolver and type def, now let's move to the review query itself on our Apollo server. Now here, what you have to define is, first you have to define the uh, variable which we will be using. So we will be using id, which is of type id, okay. So as if you hover, it says what the id is. And this id, why it's showing this red, is because since we are using a variable by defining the dollar symbol, we have to define the id property here, okay. So once we have defined the id variable here, yeah, so it says that id is never used, right? So let's use the id now. So what we do is, let's say we want from the review, this review, and here we need to define the review id, which is nothing but uh, it's nothing but our id itself. So I just remove this from here, and from here I will return the rating and the content of it. Now let's, okay, we don't need this review id, it came from auto intelligence, okay. Now once all things look good, now let's try to run this. So as you can see, for the id value of 1, the rating is 9. So let's check this. So for the id value of 1, the rating is 9. Now let's try for the 6, okay. So the 6 has a rating of 7. Now let's cross check, and yeah. So this is how you can pass query variables and use it to uh, get the required fields. And also, just a side note, if you want, you can also modify this. So Instead of giving directly, you can pass some more functions inside it, inside the curly braces, and you can return it. So I hope this was quite helpful. See you in the next video.